We are professional.
This is a professional podcast.
Yes.
Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Hello there. Which actually,
Did you
this
get
is gonna
me a
be
hat
a
as
bit,
well?
Doom
yeah.
4K.
Yes.
So I've got Doomcam. It's just a camera.
Alright, hello, welcome. I have no clue if any of that is coming through and if I'm actually here. I think I am. Okay, I can see it in the playback. This is the first time I'm streaming. So great to see that. I mean, I'm here. What else do you want? But today, I got something special. You might have seen it from the title. Today we are going over all of the festivals I attended this year. Well, I guess most of them. But I went to Venice. I went to Cannes. I attended the Zurich Film Festival, and it kind of increasingly became more movies that I watched, and I never got the time to rank all of them. So you talking? There's so much headspace. You know why there's so much headspace up above here? Because there might be cats in the background, as you can see. You know, there's a cat tree. There's no cats in here because I scared them off because I'm too loud right now. But they might pop on in the background at some point, maybe to give some extra entertainment. I don't know. But what we're doing today is going over those tier lists. And wabam, we got the first one over here for Gun. We also got a timer because I don't want to waste y'all's time. So, we're doing this in 50 minutes or less. Not 50, sorry, 15. 15. It's easy now because there's 24 movies on that list. But, there might be more at some point. So hopefully we can get it all sorted out. Hold on, let me quickly rearrange my stuff over here. And then is the camera quality 4K? I don't think it is right now. I think it's probably about 1080. But yeah, let's see. I think everything's set. Otherwise, Kevin or Josh, let me know if something's like totally off. You would put Triangle of Sadness at the bottom, Josh. I don't see myself going there. I think it was one of the films that I enjoyed a lot. But let's actually kick this thing off and start the timer. I don't want to give myself too much time. We got a couple of categories here at the very top. We got the category of Palme d'Or for the one film that I crowned to be the best of the bunch. And then must-watch watch list 50-50. Non, that's French for no, if you didn't know. And then Le Pire, which is also French, but I didn't translate it, which means the worst. And let's go through the films one by one. First up, we got Holy Spider. Hold on, wait, I forgot to put on, let's put on some music. Got a nice bit of music here in the background playing to kick things off. Ooh, I don't know if that's too loud. Again, I'm just a wee bit new to this whole thing. Hopefully we'll get smoother at some point. All right, so Holy Spider, the film that caused a lot of controversy. I think it's definitely one that deserves to be the one that, Denmark picked it as their selection for the Oscars. So I'll put that on the watch listed tier. Next up, James Gray with Armageddon Time. I know I'm rushing through these because we don't have a lot of time. Where am I going with this? I don't think I connected with it too much. Ooh, I got no clue if this is too loud, but I'm vibing with it a lot. Armageddon Time, I think a lot of people are gonna connect with it way more than I did. So I'm gonna put it on the watch listed tier because I do think it has that quality. It's good enough to have it up there. I don't think it's getting any nominations or anything, so you're not missing out on a lot. Unfortunately, for 3,000 Years of Longing, I gotta go. No, it just didn't really work for me. I don't know, maybe I'm considering a 50-50, if you're up for it, if you are into that kind of really experimental stuff that, after Mad Max Fury Road, George Miller goes a completely different direction with 3,000 Years of Longing. I don't think the love story comes together very well, but a lot of people were talking a lot of shit about Crimes of the Future, that there were a lot of walkouts out of that film, but I think 3,000 Years of Longing might have had even more walkouts, but taking it away, Crimes of the Future really didn't work for me. Not a big fan of it, and puts everything on watch list. No. We got a lot of variety. Hold on, maybe we should kick the stuff out of the way that I say is pretty bad. The stuff that I'd say no, don't watch it. Although I might already have stuff that goes even further down that line. Now I'm totally off trail. No, for me, I think Stars at Noon also goes onto that tier, the A24 film that I think initially had Robert Pattinson cast in the male lead role. It just doesn't work. It's just really convoluted. There's a lot of like sex, and then that's entangled with like politics stuff, but yeah, just didn't like it at all. So no for that one. Same goes for a little film that I watched as a screener in Cannes, the only film I watched as a screener, and it was Marcel, a kids movie that just was wholly entertaining and not entertaining at all, so I'd skip out on that. The debut film Rodeo had a really dynamic style with a bunch of motorcyclists just like, you know, going about their business. Really a lot of kinetic energy there, but it got a bit repetitious, and it's definitely like that feature film debut thing that screened over at Un Certain Regard. A film that worked way better from Tarek Sarla, who I also had a chance to interview later down the line in Zurich. Really interesting conversation that I had with him that will come out pretty soon as well on the channel. I'd say I definitely watchlist his latest film, Boy from Heaven, which like follows along this kid who gets into like this really established place of education I'd actually have to look up what exactly the place was called. Hold on, let me do that real quick, because I do have them all over here. 1 second. It's from here. Tarek Salah in Al-Azhar University, that's what it is. 3 out of 5 for me for that one, and there has to be watch list. I think everything that's like a 6 out of 10 to me is at least like, you know, it's at least worthy of being watched in my opinion. Same goes for Les Amants d'Hier, which is actually I think coming out pretty soon now. Probably is already out in like some places. It gets really confusing with these gun releases, especially when there's French films, because France is getting them quite early. But this was quite entertaining. It was about a bunch of students that then become involved, have their love triangles and everything, all the drama that surrounds it. But it's also just like a really good coming of age film within the sphere of acting. And Harka, a film I'm gonna put in the 50-50 range because I don't even remember exactly what it was about, but let's see where I ranked it actually when I was at the festival. I don't even see it now. It's so it just moves into the background. But no, it's about this young Tunisian guy who dreams of a better life. So yeah, he's like I don't know, just that type of drama that you get often out of festivals. Not really super memorable, but pretty solid film overall. What's next up? Gorzage. Gorzage, I think, is a must-watch. It's the, I think, Austrian film submission sees Vicky Creeps as the Queen Sissy, you know, the most popular, especially if you are like in the, if you live around the German area, Austrian area, or like me, Switzerland, you're familiar with the tale of Sissy, Empress Elizabeth of Austria, that lived in the late 19th century, and it's like an emancipation tale as well. Works really well. I think it doesn't really work as well as something like Spencer maybe did, but yeah, certainly worth a watch. And I think one of the films that I expect to make not just the long list, and obviously the long list, not just the short list, but also the nominations over for the international Oscars. Something that won't make that list, but is certainly worthy, is Leila's Brothers, which didn't get selected as the Iranian film, if I remember correctly. Kevin, you are in chat right now, right? And you told me this a while ago as well, that when we did our recap for the Ghent Film Festival. By the way, one festival that I can't recap, and actually we went over quite extensively. If you haven't checked that out, go do that. But Layla's Brothers, I think, was really, really solid. Just a great family drama. Spans like 2.5 hours or even more than that. It's really long, but you don't really feel the length. But there's a lot of like great character moments. And yeah, I was quite a big fan of Layla's Brothers. Then the remake of One Cut of the Dead, French version of it, I think is also worth checking out, you know. Not too bad, not too bad. It certainly was fun to watch it with an audience as well, to like watch that with a theater who I think not a lot of people have seen One Cut of the Dead, although I think that's one of the most solid horror or even zombie films of recent memory. So for me, this remake is, of course, at first blasphemous, because why would you remake something that works so well? It's not even an American remake, so it feels like one stop short of actually bringing it into the mainstream, which we don't have it just yet, but we'll get to living the remake of Ikiru in a bit as well. But it was just entertaining. It kind of worked. It wasn't like, I think like if it were One Cut of the Dead, it's definitely like a must watch. Might even consider that like takes the whole thing out of this whole lineup. But yeah, watch list worthy. I think if you have it on your radar, it's out somewhere, worth seeing. I can't say the same for Nostalgia, which is just a, I think, really overplayed kind of type of story where you get someone who's like attached to a place and he left it and now he returns it, and there's all this baggage that's kind of still up in the air, and now he has to reconcile with the people he left behind. And there's like this friend that he had in his more youthful and wilder days that has now become like the person who everyone fears in town. And I don't know, it's just really silly, and it takes itself very seriously, and I don't think it does like the nostalgia bit really well of like, you know, what it means to return. I really liked Men. We did a whole episode on it. I don't think it's a must watch per se. I think it like rises to probably like one of the top places in watch list. But yeah, if you haven't done it already, you're probably not like vibing with it too much. But it's out already. That's like the difference for some of these films. They're still not on the release schedule at all. Certainly like films that premiered in the Un Certain Regard section, but also some other ones who are still waiting for like a wider release, which, you know, one of the widest releases you can get is going out on streaming. So with Mubi picking up Park Chan-wook's Decision to Leave, I'm actually quite excited because this is definitely a must-watch. It's the Oscar selection for South Korea, so we'll have an interesting race there. I didn't, by the way, close premiered at Cannes. I didn't catch it at Cannes. I didn't manage to sneak into a screening after I heard such raving things. I met up with Cole from the Oscar Expert, and he was like praising it a lot, and I was like, dang it, I didn't get a screening. Same for After Sun. I also missed that at Cannes, and he was praising it a lot. But yeah, Decision to Leave, great film. A bit of a different film, you know, from Park Chan-wook, not as brutal, but it's just like visually so vibrant, and his editing is just like so captivating, and the lead central performance for work very well. Yeah, I'm a fake close fan. I wasn't on the wave of it. I should have been putting that at the top of my like 2022 list before I had even seen it. But no, Kevin, you are right. My watch list section is getting kind of crowded, so I'll put a bunch of stuff on the 50-50 tier, like Metronome, which is like this tale about, I don't even remember what country it was set in, to be honest, but it's also a period piece where I think like Metronome, and there's something to do with music, and they're not supposed to listen to the music, so it's about the suppressionistic system, and they go out to party, and then they might get caught at a party, and that's like the whole movie. It's really small scale. It's, I don't know, it's pretty all right. I wouldn't like say go out of your way to not watch it, but it was all right. You know, I'm kind of split on les Hautes Montagnes, the 8 mountains. I had a chat with the two directors. One of them made A Beautiful Boy a couple of years ago, and the other one is his wife, who I think produced some of the stuff. Had a really interesting conversation with them that also hasn't come out yet. I really got to get on those interview edits. But I got a bit of more of a appreciation. I watched this like in a theater. I had to put it on like a tuxedo to get to the official screening and whatever. So like it's very formal, and I think it was like the first or the second film I watched like that, and I was just really tired. So like for me, it was like, oh no mountains for me. But the more I thought about it, I think it kind of moves up a spot. I think if I rewatched it, it would make it onto my watch list. But at the moment, I'll go like on 50-50. Same goes for Hunt, with the lead from Squid Game. I'm blanking on his name right now. Hold on, let me pull that up real quick. I'm not seeing the stuff I have. I have it all over here. Yeah, it's from Lee Jung Jae. I probably butchered that name, but he's going more into the direction of, I guess, with now having done Squid Game, he has the opportunity to do more producing, but also starring. And here's also directing this very cluttered and messy action film that has, like, I don't know, 2 acts too many, with its twists and turns and explosions and gunfights. It gets a bit messy by the end, so if you're into that sort of like really hectic action stuff, you might enjoy this. Also, I got only 1 minute left, so this is the smallest section, by the way, in Gun over here. Tori and Lokita, 50-50, pretty solid performances, probably going to be forgotten quite soon. Broker, though, great from the Shoplifter Koreeda director. Really solid performances. Tchaikovsky's wife, the worst, really hated that. Plan 75, it's decent. It brings up the interesting idea of, like, you know, planned assisted suicide at the age of 75, assisted by the government, which is interesting because here in Switzerland we do also have assisted suicide as well. It's just a casual thing to drop. Father and Soldier, yeah, it was fine. Father and a Soldier. And then Triangle of Sadness, also putting that on the must-watch tier. So I got 50 more seconds to select my overall highlight out of the festival. You know, it used to be Triangle of Sadness. I think I'm kind of changing shifts here, and I'm going to put Decision to Leave as my Palme d'Or winner for this section. And we just came in. I know I didn't stop it in time, but we just went under 15 minutes to hold on. Give me 1 second. I do have a surprise for y'all. This totally isn't like not smooth at all. I forgot to put on my hat from Gun, which doesn't fit my hat because someone else had it on, I think. But yeah, that's my Gun hat in theme. And let's actually hold on. Let's switch scenes real quick before we get into our next list. And yeah, I got some thoughts on that list so far. What's up, everyone? What are you thinking? How bad am I doing here? What's under that hat? Dude, you don't want to know. I think, like, it sparkles. It's also rainbow colored. And I think it's just a bit too much for your mere peasant mind to comprehend. No, it's just my balding head that I'm never showing in any videos because it's not going great, man. It's not going great. I'd love to get that sponsored by, I don't even know what they're called, but like some Keeps. Yeah, Keeps would be a great sponsor for us. Anyways, okay, let's reset this timer. And before we get into hold on, I gotta do some cleanup here. And there's way more movies on that list. Let's actually switch over to that scene. There's a couple more on here. I actually have to scroll down and maybe do a little bit of that. Yeah, it's a bit cleaner. Oh yeah, I forgot to put it into full screen before. Ugh, yuck, ugly. Bad overlay. bad live streamer. But yeah, this is Venice. I caught 40 films at Venice. I don't have a hat for Venice, but I did get a bag. Hold on, let me show you this real quick, because I do have that Zoom opportunity. So it says It says Venezia, Biennale de Venezia, and it's like yellow, and yellow is not really a pretty color, which I shouldn't say because this is golden. This is golden, by the way, but of course, like actually, liquid gold melted onto a hat like that. They do that. That's that procedures, and if you don't wear stuff like that, they just cough in a very French way, by the way, and cough you out of the building. And it's like, oh, tu es le pire, hein? Ah, yuck. And yeah, that was basically my experience. Anyways, let's get to Venice. Let me take a sip of water so I don't just like, dry cough throughout this whole experience. Hold on, going off screen real quick. Refreshing. Anyways, all right. Let's kick it off. We got a couple more films to do with the Venice lineup, so I can't take as long. But let's kick it off with Banshees of Inisherin. By the way, I'm also not crowning my Golden Lion straight from the go. So everything that might go out the top goes into the must-watch list, and then I select one out of those. Pretty Invisible Color. What do you mean? I just read that. Pretty Invisible Color on this thing. Hold on. I guess shouldn't read chat right now while I'm doing this. Banshees of Inisherin. It's no secret. This could definitely be one of the contenders for the Golden Lion, but you just have to wait a bit more to figure out if the latest from what's his name? From Martin McDonagh, is gonna make it all the way up there. A Man was a Japanese thriller, and I'm remembering it now. I think I liked it a lot while I watched it, although it has like a lot of melodramatic elements where it just goes very over the top, and it's I gave it a 3.5. I think it's like on a quest where he's like fakes his identity. It's a bit of like that quirky Catch Me If You Can type of stuff, but then also really morbid. So for that, I think it's watch list worthy. By the way, I didn't go over this, but Golden Lion must watch list worthy. Flip a coin if you want to watch it. Definitely skip. And the stuff that I missed, which I think at this point I've pretty much caught up with the extra stuff that I added onto here. But this time I think I'm trying to stay in order and actually go by this one by one. So this was the Golden Lion winner, All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, a documentary. Actually, first time or second time that the documentary has ever won. But it's certainly a must-watch. I think it's really solid. Does it deserve the Golden Lion over some of these other films? Maybe. I don't know. It's an important film. It's about like the Sackler family and the influence of opioids that they have, kind of paired with the art scene, looking at it through the lens of blanking on her name, but one certain artist, and it's really interesting. I think it's worth checking out. If some more people see it, then yeah, that's worth it. It's great. But a film that I went to a premiere, and it also had like a short film in front of it, Angel 69. I think it was fine. It's like it's very like niche in about like, I think like violence and the life of people in the LGBTQ community, and it was really like sad to watch at times. It was really emotional, and I was just like, I watched this at the end of a day, and I was quite tired, so I didn't really like connect with it super hard. But yeah, it was fine. Flip a coin if you want to watch that one. Then Argentina, 1985. Also flip a coin. It's one of those films that, does the courtroom drama, and it does the courtroom drama quite well. But, it's really nothing different than maybe something like not Triangle of Sadness, but Trial of the Chicago 7. Those type of films. It's really just by the books, but I can see like this doing really well in Argentina, like similar to how well Bardo has been doing since it premiered with the recut in Mexico. And maybe there they'd say it's like a must-watch. It really captures the Mexican, or not the Mexican experience, because it certainly is like this autobiographical thing that is about Iñárritu. But for me, it's like between Met and Skip, I think the only redeeming factors for me were at least that it's really visually captivating and unique. But yeah, Netflix really has a year where they don't really have anything going for the big bucks at the Oscars, and Bardo is definitely not going to be up there. Same goes for Athena, but not that that was ever the aspiration that it had. French film that comes with like a lot of kinetic energy, that is filmed with a lot of like singular takes. The behind the scenes are immaculate. There's just so much kinetic energy on screen, like a lot of fireworks, explosions, and just really intricate choreographies. So that's also out on Netflix now. I can recommend that one. Autobiography was one of those films that I also pretty much forgot about. It didn't leave like a really great memory. So yeah, put it on the my list. Now, I think I'm higher than most on Blonde because I enjoyed it, and I came out of it obviously like seeing it at the premiere. That is like was the first screening it ever had, not a flex by the way, but just to contextualize, I think like a lot of people then came out of the screening and then said it's just with the context of people calling it like exploitative and bad and whatever, and you can't come out of that, I guess, by your own volition, but it felt like the critics were really steering the conversation that way, where I just thought it was kind of decent, and it's a conversation starter. So for me, it's like flip a coin if you want to see Blonde or not. I think it's not too bad. It could be way worse. So what else could be way worse? The Bones and All is definitely not the one that I'll put into the way worse category, because I had quite a good time with it. It's certainly, is it must watch? Or I think if you like me, Guadagnino, it's certainly a must watch. Overall, I think it's just watch list worthy, because hear me out. It works quite well with the coming of age stuff that it does. But then it feels like there's a lot of things incorporated from the novel, which I haven't finished yet. I'm about a third way through. And I can see that Guadagnino changed a lot of the stuff. But by the third act, no spoilers, of course, it tries to tie in a lot of things that it just wants like an explosive big ending. Or like, maybe that's giving away too much. But it's not even that. It's just like, ends in a way that I wasn't really happy with it. So for me, I can't consider that a must watch overall. The Hammer biography, yeah, it certainly is like that. It's funny that instead of doing a sequel to Call Me by Your Name, you can watch Bones and All, which could be an homage to Armie Hammer. It's funny that the director, he I guess not last work with, but like one of his most iconic performances, and now the sequel to the follow-up to it is like a Cannibal Tale. Chiara, which is, I think in some places not Chiara, because like Chiara is it's an Italian film. I think it's Claire, so that's like the nun Claire, probably for the international viewers, they would know her. I didn't know shit about this, and I was kind of bored, so for me it was like more of a meth thing, because she performs a bunch of, like, she heals a bunch of people, and she becomes like this I don't know, this aspired thing, person that just like changes stuff in the clerky, and I was just so bored because I didn't care, but yeah, it was a bit of I don't know. Copenhagen Cowboy is a mini series. I only watched the first 3 episodes of the 6 episodes total. It's the latest from Nicholas Aldingreffen. I'm blanking on his entire name. Director of Drive, and Neon Demon as well, I think. This wasn't it for me. I wasn't really feeling it. I had like some interesting visuals, a lot of like really out there characters, that are just really rough to watch, and I think he likes to portray that. I just didn't really vibe with it a lot, but yeah, something I wish I skipped was Dead for a Dollar, something that Lachlan asked me about after, that he was like, oh yeah, what about like Dead for a Dollar, starts Christopher Waltz and who else is in there? I'm forgetting now. Hold on, let me actually. Willem Dafoe. Yeah, Willem Dafoe is in this, and Rachel Brosnahan. it's just horrible. It wants to be this like really cool western, but it just doesn't work. Um, this also, you can't even read it here, but it's about Midnight Cowboy, and it's just a really amateurish documentary that comes off as just a bad YouTube video. And while we're on the topic, this is a slightly better YouTube video from Oliver Stone, Nuclear, which makes a case for why we should go back to being nuclear, and actually does that surprisingly in a convincing way, which got me like thinking as well. If like, huh, maybe that is the way forward, Oliver Stone. Thank you so much. But he inserts himself so much into it, so it's like it's a bit unbearable to watch. It's also a bit too long as well. Let's just get it out of the way. Don't Worry, Darling was really bad. I don't want to think about it again. Dreamin' Wild, I think is watch list worthy. I enjoyed this quite a bit. The story of someone who made music in his past and has kind of outgrown it, but then also not, and gets the deal of a lifetime in a sense. But then it's the film is way more adult, and it's less about like his journey into stardom and more about like him reconciling with his past and the person he is grown into, and all of like the family stuff that carried the way where he wasn't successful for the last 25 years. So really captivating performance. I might need to extend this to 20 minutes, by the way. I'm not getting this done in 50 minutes. Living, great, not as great as Ikiru though, so go see that instead. I really enjoyed Pearl, not as much as X though, but yeah, I didn't mind it. Some people call it boring. I had a good time with it, although it definitely isn't like as exciting as the first one. Lord of the Ants, I think, should go next to Argentina 1985, because it's also part courtroom drama, an Italian film about two gay men that get caught up in, a really society that isn't accepting yet. It's a period piece as well. It was quite decent. And then Innocence, I think I should put this maybe half on missed and half on skip, because it's the only film I fully walked out on and didn't finish. It's about like Israeli soldiers growing up, kind of following them, and I just wasn't really sure what side the filmmaker is taking. I don't know if it was like particularly about like taking a side, and I just was like unsure about it, and I couldn't really bear it, them talking about war the whole time. Felt a bit too real, and I was like, I can't do this, so I left. Sikita, Drought or Dry, was this this Italian film with Penelope Cruz, I think. No, Limencita was with that, and I think where is it? I always confuse these two. There's On the Fringe, and then Sikita wasn't with her, but it was also I think this tale of like different people. See, there were too many movies who were kind of the same. I think this is Spanish and this is Italian, but both of them, I think, I don't know. I think Sikita worked a bit less well than On the Fringe. I'm not even going to talk about them more, just because I'm going to confuse them more. So let's just put it there. Then Joanna Hogg had a new film after The Souvenir and The Souvenir Part 2, two movies I really enjoyed. Eternal Daughter just kind of left me cold. I didn't really connect with it. I think it's one film that I should have to. No, I feel like I have to read more into it, but I didn't really connect with it on the first watch. It's Tilda Swinton playing both the daughter and the mother, so it gets a bit trippy that way. They also like shot it at different like times of the day. Like they didn't stay consistent with when they're shooting what, so it has like that ghostly appearance as well. It's just a bit odd. Flip a coin if you want to see that. If you like the Joanna Hogg films, then you might enjoy this one as well. Limenzita, which was about like a mother and her more like tomboy kid. I don't know if it was like about her trans journey as well of the kid, but I think it was more like a tomboy thing. Yeah, gets quite emotional, gets quite melodramatic as well, so I can't full-heartedly say like definitely put that on your watch list. But if that sounds like something for you, then this might be a film for you as well. Hold on, I just saw Josh say, yeah, Don't Worry Darling, directed by Andrew Tate, Shadow directed. But no, I think it was like really directly Jordan Peterson inspired, and yeah, just the tackiest film. We never covered it on the podcast fully. I'd love to. We maybe will once we like revise the. Hold on, let me pause the screen quick while I talk about Don't Worry Darling. That's not cheating, by the way. That's not cheating. I'll definitely turn it on and don't forget it and continue. So I'm on the 50 minutes. But no, Don't Worry Darling is just so concerned with its image that it makes, which is fine if you like build to something, but then it just wants to explain certain things, like, you know, that Jordan Peterson bit of like incels, and it just doesn't make any sense. So it has unforgiving plot holes that yeah, you can't really overlook. Why would you rewatch that, Josh? Why would you rewatch something so terrible? That's certainly considered a skip. Why would you go in a second time? That's like, yeah, no. You're just a masochist at that. It's no, not a sadist, a masochist at that point. Anyways, Love Life. I don't even remember that movie, and I'll definitely turn back on this. Yeah. I'll turn back on the timer. Maybe we'll have to come up with like some punishment at the end of like the times I go over. Okay, I don't know. I can eat like a clove of garlic or whatever you guys want. We've established that Josh is very sadistic. Hold on. Now I'm just going fully over. Where is it? I'm sorry. I'm still a bit sick, by the way. Yeah, I'm not seeing Love Life. Just like I'm not seeing Love Life, which is very almost autobiographical. But yeah, a decent film. I think a decent film that I'll flip a coin on. You know, as it should be. It should have like that pyramid type of thing, like my curve on Letterboxd does as well. Then the latest from Paul Schrader, Master Gardener. I think it's worth watching as part of like the trilogy. I think it's becoming a quadrilogy pretty soon, with First Reformed, The Card Counter, and The Master Gardener, where we get to look at someone who's morally like gray through his profession. And I think that's always really an interesting approach, although it does become a bit repetitive, and it's definitely probably the weakest of the three so far. But I just like Paul Schrader's writing, although it is a bit cheesy at times. But yeah, Master Gardener I think is watchlist worthy. Then Monica, about a trans woman who comes back to her home, to her mother that's kind of never really approved of her, and it's that really subtle, or maybe not so subtle undertone of her seeking some kind of reconciliation with her mother. And it's about a trans woman, about a woman who has like fully transitioned, and it's really interesting to see her journey that way, because I think there was another film that had a trans woman at the center of it all, and it was less about like the full transition yet, because she comes from a place of influence, of wealth, so she has had the opportunity to actually fully go through that. And I think it's like it would be a really interesting double feature. But Monica, I think, was really worth seeing. Great, solid performances. Not a lot of people are going to have that on their radar. And then the film that didn't win the Golden Lion, but I think it won the special jury prize, No Bears. Hold on, I'm putting it back down here, which is by... Let me pull it up and let me see if you guys can actually see that. Yeah, it's by Jafar Panahi. He's in prison, I think, right now. He's one of those directors who I haven't seen like anything of. This was my first experience of it, and he always like inserts himself into the film. He works around like the limitations that come with being an Iranian filmmaker, with like he's obviously like banned from the place, and a lot of that is like a part of the film as well, where he directs a film in, I think, in Turkey, but he's like somewhere, I don't know. It's like, he's like right at the border to direct the film. He's doing so. It's very meta. I just found it very boring because he works with that limitation, and it might be interesting as like thematically, or like as a subject, as a news article. But yeah, after one film, I've kind of had enough of that. But I've heard some good things about This Is Not a Movie, and stuff like that. So for me, it really wasn't it. Sorry about that. I know some people loved it quite a bit. Hey, what's up, Wiley? I see you pop in the chat as well. And yeah, Josh, I really loved First Reform. That out of this whole lineup, I don't know if I put that maybe even as my Golden Lion, but we'll get to that in a bit. Man, I'm really going over those 15 minutes, but we can all come to an agreement here somehow. I'm sure you guys got suggestions, but we got a couple more to go through. Les enfants des autres, les autres. I don't know why I switched there to an English. Les enfants des autres. I can flex that I can speak a bit of French. Other people's children. Also, I had a chance to talk with the director for this one, and yeah, really solid film. Had great performances from Roshdi Sem and what's her name? Why is she leaving me? She's great. Athira, I think is her last name. It's Virginia Fira. And yeah, from Rebecca Slotowski, who I also saw in Easy Girl, quite an interesting film as well. And here it's about a woman who enters a relationship, and she wants to have children. That's kind of her goal, that she wants to get to a relationship where she can have children, and it just does that whole thing very well. Like, he's a great character to follow. She's really interesting. The kid is also quite decent in it. She's mainly really cute, and then she acts pretty decent as well, which is all you need for a kid actor. And I like this a lot. Like, I might even bump this up to must watch. I really enjoyed this. I would have preferred this over Saint-Omer as the Oscar submission, because I didn't really like Saint-Omer, and I know that's gonna raise some eyebrows. What? That was an amazing film, right? It was like this really interesting thing about, like, look at the free court dramas, and it's actually the lowest ranking for me because it was so flat to me, and I get that is like the appeal. That's what they were going for, but yeah, man, I was just a bit bored, and I think it was the last of those three that I saw at the festival as well. So I think I'm gonna give it a rewatch. I might bump it up to 1 or 2 tiers, but at the moment, Saint-Omer stays down there. Next up, Limia, Our Ties. Another highlight. I don't think I can put it all the way up next to Les Enfants des Autres, but it's another family drama, this time directed by Roshdi Sem. Hold on, did we stop the music? Did I tell you to stop the music? Please continue. Yes, thanks. And yeah, really solid overall. And if someone remembers the ending song at the end of this film, I was like, I went out of the theater, I was like dancing the last final minutes, and I was like really vibing with the film, and I was like, oh, I gotta put that on my playlist, on my rotation, I gotta check that out. And then I totally forgot, and since then I've been trying to frantically figure out what the movie was called. I checked the soundtrack every couple of days, but I don't think they've updated it just yet, but keep me posted if anyone can figure that out. Sorry. And then Princess was the first film I caught at the festival. It's all right. I think you can flip a coin on it. It's about a sex worker working just outside of Rome, like wandering the woods and getting people in there. And then it's about like a lot of the pretty frustrating interactions that she has with her customers, and then also the bantering between the other sex workers that all like live together. And then it's about like the connection that she like might make with one of her customers that leads like further, and it explores that. So it has like some interesting story points. But I think it's a decent festival film that obviously is not gonna make it much further than that. So if you are interested, go give that a watch. And then what is this? What is this film? Oh yeah, I remember it. It's a film that you should definitely skip and don't even have to consider. Hold on. I think it's called Stonewalling. And that might have been, yeah, apart from Innocence and Dead for a Dollar, that might have been the worst film of the festival. It's about Lynn, a 20-year-old college student who finds herself isolated by a family scandal. I'm bored already. And the movie just meanders in nothingness the whole time. Like, there's no actual plot, and it's not even like it's no plot, it's a vibe. It's nothing. It's so nothing. It's the most boring thing I've seen in a long time. And I think I sat right next to the director as well the whole time, so I couldn't really leave, although it was the second closest that I was about walking out of a theater. Walking into the theater a bit late. I was for Tar. I don't know why I turned into Yoda just then. But I think I came out of like the screening for Living and had to rush to another theater. And yeah, I missed like the opening bit, which was just the credits, like the credits that precede the film. And I just missed like the first few minutes of that. So I was like, oh yeah, I didn't miss much of it, but I think that's like an integral part of Tar, like why that comes at the front. I think it's one of the best films of the year. Definitely seek it out. Certainly a must watch. One of the best films of the year for sure. The Hanging Sun, meh, pretty standard. Hey, I'm this strange guy who arrives on an island and then some local woman helps him out, and then there's the drama that ensues. It's pretty middle of the road. Happiest Man in the World. What is this film? I know that it's like really low. I think it's on the skip tier because I also forgot about it. Yeah, I fully have no clue what this movie is about. I totally forgot. So yeah, Matchmaker, pretty bad documentary about like the matchmaker of the matchmaker, but some like they groomed people into joining like ISIS. She was like DMing people on Twitter and stuff like that, but it does a really lukewarm profile on her, so don't seek that out. The Sitting Duck, I think is a decent like thriller that's about someone who's, I think, a politician, or like, no, working for, I think, like some kind of influential company, and it's about like morality and then like, you know, capitalism and I don't know, some politic drama thriller. It's all right. It's nothing crazy. Ooh. I don't know why we go. No. We're not gonna go with that music. That's just really random. Hold on. Let's go for a different song. Yes, way more chill. Actually, it would have been fitting for The Sun, because I don't know. I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it as much as people, although I've been talking a lot of shit about it. I think it goes at the bottom of the Met tier. You know, I'm not ranking these individually in the tier themselves, because it's about like, you know, flip a coin to watch it, not how much you should flip a coin or how much you should not flip a coin to watch it. But The Sun, oh man, The Sun is such a disappointment, and I think everyone knows at this point. I really like The Whale. Brandon Fraser is back. Great performance there. Yeah, just all around great stuff. And I think I really connect with those kind of theater adaptations that have like the limited space. And it's very much that. Like, I really loved One Night in Miami. And not that that's like similar in any kind of way, but it definitely has some shortcomings, but I think overall the movie is quite great. And then lastly, I think White Noise is just watch list worthy. I listened to the audiobook of the novel, and it is just it's just a crazy little tale of yeah, this story that you don't really see going the direction it goes in. It has a surprising amount of like action scenes, and at first I was surprised, like, well, how did this cost 60 million to make? And after seeing it, I was like, oh yeah, that's why it cost 60 million to make. It's really quirky, it's weird, and it's, I think, probably one of the least accessible, like accessible, not successible is not even a word, but accessible films that Noah Baumbach has made so far. And yeah, I think it's watch list worthy. But that's my full list. Take a Radada, take a screenshot. No, I'll probably share them after. But that's that. So yeah, let's switch over to this scene. So what do y'all think about my infallible list of the films I watched at Venice? Yeah, I didn't even watch the trailer for The Whale. By the way, I'm gonna do a live stream tomorrow on the Quiet on Set podcast channel where I'm catching up with about 3 weeks worth of trailers. So there's a lot to watch. Usually we're gonna do that weekly, and I think it's just gonna be me for those. But yeah, I think I'll watch it then again because I'm curious. I've heard that they don't really show a lot. I think it's just like really just a teaser of The Whale. You don't get to see the whole thing. You still need to see 99% of them. Okay, yeah, I think that's the thing that I mentioned while we did the Zurich list as well. It's a slow rollout of a lot of them. Although like some of them are already out. Like Athena, I think Bones and All comes to theaters in a week or two. But yeah, it really depends on where you are. Obviously, if you are like somewhere in LA or New York in those like 6 theater limited releases, you'll get those films, and then some don't even expand beyond like 300 to 600 theaters, and then it's really harder to get them. I think like for us, The Fablemans, like a big Spielberg film, doesn't come out until like March next year. So yeah, I'll definitely like miss out on some films as well. I'm still really sick, recovering. So hold on, let me take a sip of water, but I'll mute myself like a professional streamer. Yummy, refreshing. Okay. Anyways, I think damn, I forgot to stop my timer. But it definitely didn't go over 15 minutes. I just forgot to stop it. So let's just reset that so we all on the same page. Yeah, no issues here. Yes, very professional. I think this is like, the thing is, I have a second monitor, and like that. Oh my god, that's crazy, right? But no, my second monitor, which is actually, hold on. Down here, this is my actual second monitor. This thing, pretty ugly. I got a nice big one. This one's a smaller one, but it's just been flickering like crazy. It's going crazy, and it's not. Hold on, I'm on my. This is not chaotic at all. And it's just been flickering. It's not been working, so I had to replace it with this really dog shit little monitor on the side, and I hate it. It's terrible. It's terrible for streaming. But yeah, I'm using OBS, by the way. I think that's a really solid one. Also, why are we getting Rossellini? Rossini, not Rossellini. Wrong guy. Hold on. Let's go. Let's go with some Kimiko Kikichu. Can always go for that. Bit of flying beagle to set the mood for our last and biggest list. I'm scared for this. Okay, I'm officially saying this has a 25-minute thing because it's a lot of like repeated stuff, But we're doing the Zurich Film Festival. I caught 60 films. 60 films at the Zurich Film Festival. If I'm being really honest, I caught about 30. And a lot of those are like duplicates, films that I've seen in between the festival, even before it. So it gets a bit of a blur with everything. But we got some really great highlights in there. I just noticed that I forgot to crown... the Golden Lion. I'm really professional. Hold on. Let me switch the scene again. All right. So here. Hear me out. What's the best film from Venice? Is it The Whale? Is it Tar? Is it Les Enfants des Autres? All the Beauty and the Bloodshed? Or is it actually Banshees of Inisherin? And yes, it is. It is Banshees of Inisherin. It might be my favorite Martin McDonagh film. I think solid second run-up. I think it's been growing on me. Tar is really great. I really liked The Whale, and then Les Enfants des Autres, and then I'll put that into that order. So glad to have cleared that up. So hold on, let me switch again, and we'll get over to the Zurich list. All right, so bam. All right. Damn, there's a lot of films. A lot of films over here. Yeah, Banshees is amazing. It really deserves that spot. I hope it's going far at the Oscars as well. But yeah, we got a lot of films to cover. Let me take a sip of non-disclosed beverage. It's supposed to make that sound. Okay, so are we ready to rank them in order? All right, so if you're not familiar with the Zurich Film Festival, they give out the Golden Eye. I know, it's das Goldene Auge if you speak German, which probably none of you guys are. But yeah, Golden Eye they give out. It's nothing to do with James Bond. So there's also the must-watch list, as always, watch list. Then there's the films that, you can bat an eye at or not. It's really up to you. It's, almost as if it's 50-50 or you can flip a coin. Films that are just really meh. And then the offensive ones that don't give you a golden eye, but that actually give you a black eye. So, yeah, you guys ready? Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Let's start the timer. Yeah, it's just Pierce Brosnan's face if you win it. And if they don't like it for the jury award or for the audience award, if you're like the lowest voted one, they instead of announcing like who's winning, they get two film crews up there. The one that's winning and the one that's like the lowest rated. And with one of them, they all get to put on a mask of Pierce Brosnan, and the other one just get all punched in the face. Like, the festival director just lines them up and just punches them in the face. Anyways, let's kick this off. Timer is a go. And the sun, again, met over here. I don't know why. Don't put a plus on here. We're not changing this. So a couple of films we already ranked. Saint-Omer, I think you can, bat an eye for that one. What did I say about this? Yeah, that's The Eight Mountains. Holy Spider we've ranked before. I think it's like watch list worthy. Banshees is a must watch. This is gonna be a lot of like just getting them in order of what we've already ranked. All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, must watch. Bones and All, I said watch list. Argentina 1985. What did I say? Watch list or bat? I think it's like in between here. I think it's fine if you're interested in that sort of stuff. Oh God, my eyes are just popping out from that cough. I could feel it, so I really had to mute there. Boy from Heaven, watch list. Oh, I'm crying. Corsage, must watch. Triangle of Sadness, also. I said like at the top of watch list, right? Les Enfants des Autres, must watch. Eternal Daughter, bat an eye. This was watch list worthy. Armageddon Time, I also already talked about. Oh, we got someone who's spamming. Bye-bye. Okay. Armageddon Time. Where do I put it? When did I put it before? I think I didn't really connect with it, so it's like a 50-50. Also, I think I have less tiers right here. Broker, a must-watch. Layla's Brothers, a must-watch. Crimes of the Future was meh. On the Fringe was another one that I'd put into the watch list here. Yes. Tchaikovsky was meh. What else am I missing? Nuclear. Nuclear I also saw, which is alright. No Bears was also alright. Living was watch list worthy. Unruly, The Swimmers, The Mission, The Menu. Yeah, I think we are set. Now, these are all new films. It's a literal tier list. I like that. You know, if I go through, I think at the end of the stream, I might get a garlic clove, and you know, for going over time, I eat one of those, and we'll see. It might make me cry, but it's also very healthy. It might be a good like cleansing thing. A Forgotten Man was a like partly like fictional because the character is fictional. Like story period drama about a Swiss diplomat that worked really closely like next to, some would like even argue with Hitler or like against him. It's like, you know, the line there is really blurred of when Switzerland decided to you know, join like they would have joined just the winning side at the end of World War II. They didn't really care as much who would come out on top, and like that's what this movie tackles. It does it very poorly, and with a lot of like really weird type of flashbacks and stuff that the main character sees. So I really didn't like it. Not a Swiss film that doesn't rise up to the occasion. All Quiet on the Western Front is amazing, and that's coming from someone who, hold on, who loves Come and See. One of my all-time favorite films. It's amazing. Amazing film. And All Quiet on the Western Front just like does something similar, where it's just about the dread of war, and it just captures that in a great way. That also, like, I also have that still on my table here. It's called Investe Nichts Neues, you know, All Quiet on the Western Front, by Erich Maria Remarque. Our review, I think, comes out in a day or two. And yeah, it's just very solid. It's a must watch. I really hope it gets into the Oscar race. One of the films that maybe Netflix can get even beyond the international Oscar. It might pick up some technical stuff, and I think it deserves it. It really pulled me in. But I also love this book. That's why maybe I like it a bit more than some people. Blue Jean. UK teacher who is gay, and it's not like it's under the Margaret Thatcher new ruling of that like outlawing the education for any kind of LGBTQ awareness, and sees her I guess struggle with her own identity. Does she become an ally for you know, the people who she closely resembles, or for the people that try to oppress her? And really interesting you know, character portrait that I'd say is definitely watch list worthy. And it's also like shot very beautifully on, I think, 16 millimeter, and that was a great choice. It looks amazing. Now, Bros is a must watch. Why? Because it is an actual funny studio comedy. It's really disappointing that this movie didn't do as well. It's also disappointing about like the lead and directors, no, not director, but the lead's like statements about like why people didn't come out to the theater. Ultimately, I think it's just a bit disappointing that you know, a film that I would love to see do well isn't doing well. So if you haven't seen it already, I think it probably is out on VOD quite soon. Although it is very fun in a theater, where it really got a lot of like chuckles out of me. Really funny, LGBTQ plus, one of the first ones at least like on this scale, rom-coms. So Bros is a must watch this year. Can't say the same for Cinema Sabaya, which was this fictional story that felt really documentary-esque about a bunch of people coming together and I guess, connecting through making their own films. They got like little assignments that they needed to do. It's interesting, but never goes beyond that. Daliland was terrible. Hold on. Daliland deserves to get a black eye. It was so bad. It was so bad. It's about, I guess, Dali, the artist, and like a lot of the scenes include like these weird flashbacks with Ezra Miller, where like they do a bunch of stuff as a young Dali, and it just got cut out of the movie quite a bit. So there's like 3 of them in total. And it's just this really disjointed story about like someone coming in and being an assistant to Dolly. So it's that common thing. Yeah. It's that common thing where the focus is all mismatched because he tried to get like the person that we can attach to as the audience in there to then understand his really chaotic world. And it just doesn't really work because it kind of wants to go all the way. But all the scenes with Ezra Miller in it, I think they are a bit more out there. And not just conceptually, I guess, because like Dolly as old with that new guy are like in the scene when Ezra Miller is in the scene. So it's like really goofy. They're just looking at him as he like retells his childhood. Anyways, Eismeyer, which I think I think it's a German film, about like a really, a story about a officer or someone high in the military who trains people who comes to terms with his sexuality through a recruit that comes in. And I think it's a really solid film. It was out of the category because I was like joining a jury grid of a bunch of film critics, like brought together by outnow.ch. And we were supposed to look at like the focus section, which had a lot of films from which exclusively had films from Germany, Switzerland, and Austria. And I think this probably was like one of the 2 highlights out of that entire section that I watched. But still, I think I'm between like bat an eye or don't, because it's like, and watch this because it's like that type of story that dramatizes this like tragic tale of gay identity within the military. And I was just like, I don't know if I need to see that. The new A24 film, The Inspection, seems to be like in a similar line, but from what I've heard, I think it's even gonna work less for me than Eismeyer. But it gets surprisingly like nuanced and intimate at times. So Eismeyer, if you're interested in it, go check it out. And I think the other highlight out of that section, I'm looking for it right now. Where is it? Sachertorte, which is an Austrian film about a guy who wants to have like his rom-com romance. And no rom-com, because he doesn't like rom-coms. He just wants romance. And his favorite trilogy, like mine, weird, is the Before trilogy. And he quotes it. It's a big part of it. So I was like, oh, that's blasphemy. How do you quote that film and not make it unbearable? It worked really well. It was charming. It was like, I don't know if I can say it was cliche. It was very cheesy, but it worked for me. I had quite a good time with with Sachertorte, which is like about the something that they have in Vienna, that they give out. So that's also where the first like film, Before Sunrise, takes place. And one of my favorite towns. If you ever have the chance to go to Europe, I think Vienna is a must stop. Wait, hold on. Let me reconfigure that in my mind. Is a place that you have to go. Here we go. Anyways, El Agua. Yeah. No. It's a type of story that you see like about maybe 2 to 3 films at each festival, at least like with the biggest selections, that loosely tells and like some kind of environmental issue along with like a coming of age or like someone coming to terms with something. So it's like something in the background and then some kind of coming of age story in the foreground of it happening. And this is about like floodings, and it weirdly pairs a bunch of like head-on interviews that are in documentary style with the fictional narrative, and it doesn't work at all for me. So goes on to the mad tier. Same goes for Eternal Spring, which I might need to pull up to exactly get the right thing that it's about, but it's basically like about some religious stuff. In 2001, a state TV signal in China gets hacked by members of a banned spiritual group, Falun Gong, and it's basically about that the Chinese government is suppressing that like newcome ideology, that religion, and I think it portrays a lot of like interesting characters and like some like really stunning storytelling, although visually it's a bit of a pickle because it's animated mostly or exclusively. I think mostly animated. There's sequences that aren't animated, quite a lot of them, but then it like retells certain aspects that you don't have obviously footage of in that style, and it just doesn't work. It feels like someone described it as like a GTA San Andreas cutscene. It does feel a bit that way, so it doesn't really work for me. Also, give me 1 second. I gotta quickly blow my nose because this is getting unbearable. So hold on. I'll be back in 1 sec. All right, I'm back, and I got a cat. Look at him. He's cute, and he doesn't. Oh God, he doesn't want to be here. Hello. He's so cute, though. He's so cute. Anyways, I'll let you go. Oh, he looks so disoriented now. He usually comes here, but I guess he's not used to me streaming. Anyways, where were we? Let's continue. Foudre was a Swiss film that was about like sexual awakening in a sense of like this teenager coming to terms with like, ooh, I'm becoming a woman. I don't know. It's just like pretty visuals and a bit of nothing. So I don't know. Feel pretty indifferent towards it. Oh God, we're up to Gigi and Nate. All right, wait. I gotta read you the synopsis for Gigi and Nate. A young man with a bright future suffers a near-fatal accident and recreates his new life with help of an unlikely animal friend. And I think my review says something along the lines of this is the most like where is it again? No, I wrote something completely different. But I quoted to like a critic friend of mine that this feels like it's made by a 56-year-old Republican guy. Because it just feels like it has some weird right-wing undertones in there about like protesting and stuff like that, cancel culture. It's just really odd, and it's just a bizarre film. It feels like a fever dream, the whole thing. Girl Gang is a documentary about a influencer, I think 14 years old by the time they started the thing, and they followed a bunch of like her fans and then her, and man, what can I say about Girl Gang? It feels weirdly like influenced by by the director's drive to tell a story that is worth watching to get the story from the documentary. And there was some controversy, I think, about her last film that I think played at Sundance, and about like how legitimate and how I guess just depicting the truth it was. It did feel that a bit with Girl Gang as well, but it's worth, if you're interested into the influencer space, I guess it goes about that. Then Becoming Julia, about a dancer from Zurich. I just followed her a bit, and was like a documentary that wasn't really focused, so put that on the black eye. I don't know, it's a bit harsh. I think it's not as bad as Daliland and Gigi and Nate, so definitely just a meh. Same goes for Holidays. Follows a bunch of Russian people throughout the year, as they have like their different holidays, I guess. But it feels like this film had to be like tuned out by a certain deadline. So yeah, all of the characters are like super unlikable. They're bigots, they're assholes, and didn't really feel like following them along after, I don't know, a couple of minutes. So yeah, Holiday is not a disappointing film. Honk for Jesus, Save Your Souls, I saw all the way back at Sundance, so it's been a while. But I think it's worth a watch. It's really meta in the way that it's this fake documentary style, but then also has like certain shots where it follows them outside of the framing of that framing. And yeah, they're just both really entertaining in the leading roles. So pretty solid comedy, but it's that time we get close, and it's not even close. I'm making the joke again. It's going on to the must-watch tier. We'll go over later where it will end up. Will it get the golden eye from me? But yeah, Close is amazing. Hope to see it go all the way. Hopefully win an Oscar as well. I would love to see it win over some of the other international films. L'Innocent, another French film that I think is really worth your while. Again, with Rochdy Sem. There's also Noémie Merlan, who was in Portrait of a Lady on Fire. And then I'm blanking on the young guy's name, but it's about him and his mother, who gets a new boyfriend, who's Rochdy Sem, who and she works like at a prison, so she like gets together with she gets engaged with a lot of like prison people and he never trusts them, and it's a bit about like that, a spoof on that, and it's just a really energetic fun comedy, crime comedy. So L'Innocent, the Innocent, probably, I don't know. I can recommend Mad Heidi, a crowd-funded Swiss film in English, that is like the type of, I guess, B or C movie that we don't really get like at all in Switzerland, and I guess doesn't get made as successfully anymore. We got like, even that has been streamlined by like one studio who does specifically Sharknado movies or stuff like that. And Mad Heidi is just mad chaos. I think if it is like your type of thing, you'll bat an eye. You'll see it might be a golden eye for you, it might be a black eye for you. So I'll just go straight down the middle and just check out the trailer. It is absolute madness. There's so much gore. There's a lot of like practical effects, and you can see the love for filmmaking in there. I didn't vibe with it, but I saw it at the screening where like a lot of the people, because it is crowdfunded, a lot of the people who helped make this film a reality got to be there, and the energy was just ecstatic. So that can't be replicated ever at another screening, because it was like that screening, the main one. But other than that, I think pretty dumb fun. Great for a drinking game as well. So if you're interested, check that out. The Midwives was about like midwives in what area? I also saw this at Sundance. Did an interview with the director and the producer. Quite interesting talk that I had with them. Hold on, let me pull it up. It is set in Myanmar, in Rohingya. That's what I was looking for. It's a Muslim minority community within a Buddhist, mainly Buddhist, I think, country, and it's been a center of conflict for a while, and it yeah, sees someone, I guess, like, do midwife stuff in that, risking her own life at times. So yeah, one that I can shout out as well. And then Nostalgia. I forgot to rate that one because we already put it, but I think it's like, it's either between Met or Bad and I'm putting it over here for now. A Fine Morning by Mia Hansen-Love, who most recently did Bergman Island. Another great film. I think I compared it really closely to Les Enfants des Autres because it's another one of those films that is about like a relationship dynamic, but it's her who has the kid in this relationship, if I remember it correctly. So she has a lot of like obligations, and she gets involved with this guy who doesn't really commit to her. So it's a lot of like that relationship drama. I'd put it on the watch list. It's worth checking out if that's your type of thing. Really solid romance drama. Patrick and the Whale. They saw The Octopus Teacher, or My Octopus Teacher, and were like, oh, Netflix got an Oscar with that. Well, why not try it ourselves and have some guy get weirdly attached to a whale? And that's Patrick and the Whale. If they cut out all of the weird stuff that I guess Patrick does and just had all of the whale footage, this would have been more interesting. But for now, Bad and I might even go down into the Met tier. It was pretty unsubstantial overall. Rimini. I'm kind of torn on this. I think I'll put it into like the middle tier as well here with Bad and I, because it's about this retired singer who does like a lot of Schlager. I don't know what that translates to into other, like, what's the genre word for it in English. But he goes to these retirement homes and sings for them in Rimini. And his daughter turns up with a lot of like resentment towards him because he hasn't been there for life and basically just wants money. And it gets a bit repetitive. And I didn't really get all of the themes that it was going for. So yeah, go give the trailer a watch maybe if it is your vibe. Then yeah, you'll see if it's worth checking out for you. RMN. It's one of those films that closely resembles No Bears as well, where it is about I guess you got characters that are within a place that are a lot of like bigoted and terrible like personalities and ideas are in there, like a lot of racism and stuff like that is floating around, and it just brings that to the forefront as there's like a scene where like everyone is there and they're just arguing. And I didn't really think it did it that well, because there were a lot of characters that we kind of follow from time to time. And yeah, it's just, it doesn't really come together. I think a lot of people might even like this a bit more than me. I didn't really like it. Something that kind of was similar was The Cake Dynasty, about like a guy who runs a cake factory, and then all sort of chaos. It's such a chaotic film. I didn't get it at all. If there was like some kind of really Nordic humor that I wasn't getting, but yeah, that's The Cake Dynasty. Rubicon, and the algae in Rubicon is like a space sci-fi drama about a bunch of astronauts who are stranded in on a spaceship, and they have to make the algae work. And I'm saying algae because in that film they say that about like 500 times. They say the word algae in various different scenarios, and it's just a very bland movie. Gets super repetitive. Sorry. Visually, I think it's interesting to have that sort of movie come out of, I think, Austria. Certainly needed a bit of a budget to get that done. But yeah, that's Rubicon. Speak No Evil. I think a bunch of people were praising that film quite a bit when it came out because they were talking about how brutal it gets. I didn't think it got brutal until like a like specific point in the film, and other than that, I think it didn't really completely work for me. So I didn't really like Speak No Evil that much. Same for The Good Nurse. It's that it feels at the right place at Netflix, where it, like depicts those true crime things and serializes them like Dharma, or like dramatizes them as like here something like The Good Nurse. I mean, it has what is it like? It's not Jessica. Is it Jessica Chastain? Yeah, it's not Bryce Dallas Howard. I get them confused all the time. And Eddie Redmayne, both kind of just okay in their performances. So it was a bit boring. Then The Line, La Ligne, I think a Swiss film or a French film. I think a Swiss film. That's like plays in the French part of Switzerland, though. Um, about someone who like has violent tendencies, and then her mother gets a restraining order for her, so they draw a line that she can't cross, and she still tries to connect with them somehow. So it's like that type of film, and it does that quite like okay-ish, but I just wasn't really vibing with it. Right, so the menu. I'm quite torn on. I don't know if someone else mentioned the menu before. I think Josh said that he's about to see it. But the menu, this comes from the writer that worked on Succession, I think season 1 and 2, some episodes, and it's this I guess class satire about rich people who go to an island to get like a really crazy experience with an established cook, and played by Ralph Fiennes, and it just gets crazier and crazier as the night progresses, and I don't want to spoil anything up front. I think the trailer already shows quite a bit. I think this works, but it also fully leans into all of the crazy things that it tries to do. It goes fully into the satire stuff that works. So put that on my watch list. Let's bang out these last few. The mission is totally fine. It's about a bunch of Mormons who go to Europe to do the mission run. And yeah, it's Mission Impossible. But yeah, I don't know. It was just a pretty mediocre documentary. Nothing about like the filmmaker made this stand out. And then I think the documentaries don't really grab me if it's just like the story that might be a bit intriguing, but the filmmaking isn't really up there. The Swimmers was the opening film of the festival, and I thought this was also just okay. It's about two Syrian, I think, refugees who it's like this sports drama, but also refugee thing where it weirdly has to match these two tones of them. I guess just making the immigration journey, the really refugee type of stuff. That stuff is really captivating, but then it has to pair it with, I guess, the Olympics, and it feels mismatched at times. It doesn't really fully work because it's a Netflix film, so it wants to have like that happy ending stuff, and I don't know if it works fully. Unruly is this, I think, Danish film about someone who's like sexually active, and then she goes into like, has to go into like a camp that normalizes her into like a proper woman. So it's very much it's very much just like concerned with showing all of the misery over and over and over again. And I think that is like, you can make that type of movie. It just becomes really frustrating to watch that for the whole runtime, where it's just like about them breaking down and again, and it doesn't do it as well as like other films have done it before. So it just feels like it's just exploiting trauma. To be like a mildly entertaining film. Oh no, I wouldn't even call it entertaining because it is just all about the misery. Vamos a la Playa was a Swiss film about a bunch of people going to the beach and looking for a guy and just like wandering off in like these two characters go off to do some side quests, and then these two characters go off to do some side quest, and yeah, I don't know, it just didn't work at all. The performances were kind of lackluster. Another miss from Switzerland. Valeria is getting married. This really small scale story that is mainly set in just like one apartment building where this also refugee, not a refugee, she comes to the country and her only way to stay is to marry a guy that she doesn't want to marry, and then she doesn't want to marry him, and the whole trouble that goes along with, like, you know, her not wanting that, her wanting to be by herself and not being like tied to a man. So yeah, really solid little story that worked quite well with what it was going for. War Pony. War Pony is a difficult one. I think it's somewhere between Watchlist and Bat and Eye. I think I'll also put it into Bat and Eye because it doesn't completely work with the couple of storylines that it has. Like, a lot of them have repeated beats where he has trouble with like his girlfriend, and then one of his ex-girlfriends, and one of his current ones, or like, I don't know, some woman. It's just it's a lot of that. But it was entertaining enough that I might even consider it like watch list worthy. But I don't think it's one of those films that you have to see by the end of the year. And then last two, The Woman King, I think a really solid action film. Came with a bit of controversy. But it's worth seeing. It's worth seeing, certainly. And then After Sun, which goes all the way at the top of must watch, and it concludes us. Oh god, we've been going for 33 minutes for this list. Hope I didn't lose too many of you with that. But man, that's a harder list to make. Obviously Banshees is great at the top of this list, but I'm also moving up is Close and After Sun. Those are really the three best films of the year, I'd say. For me, Close is the best one that deserves the golden eye, followed by After Sun and then Banshees. It really just has been that experience. I haven't really had a chance to talk about After Sun too much, but it's just beautiful. We'll definitely like give it a full review on the Quiet on Set podcast at some point. But a great tale of coming to terms with trauma in a really subtle way, of your own childhood and reflecting on it. Beautiful tale. And then Close is just the film that made me, I think, to cry the most like ever. I was bawling my eyes out because I was so emotionally involved in the film. It's really just that beautiful. So yeah, that's my list. Make a mental screenshot. I'll also try and post this all the lists over on Twitter as well. And yeah, that's that for all of the tier lists. So let me take a sip of water, and then yeah, we get some other stuff we can still do. Let's see. Hope everyone got some fine recommendations out of my list. Some stuff to put on your watch list, some stuff to avoid. Let me stop the stopwatch, and we can actually hide that one now. Go away. All right. Oh, it's not even on full screen here. Never mind. But it might be on this screen. All right, let me get rid of it. Okay, so I think we got a couple more things that we can do before I end this stream today. I wanted to take a look at the horror season is over now, but I wanted to do the stream a bit earlier. I'm a bit late with it because, as you can hear, I'm still sick. I'm doing my best to get through this, thought it was better than it actually is. I'm losing my voice. So we're going to go through this, I think, quite quickly. But yeah, something popped up on Letterboxd where I was looking at a Rolling Stones list that had like the 101 best horror films of all time, and this is it over here. And yeah, at the very top there's The Exorcist. I was just wondering maybe what your guys' favorite horror films are. We recently did a series on the Quiet on Set podcast where we invited a bunch of guests and talked about their 4 favorites. I think I also just watched this one the other day, so I have seen it now. Yeah, I think I have seen this. I don't think it's the 3rd best horror film of all time, though. We didn't really vibe with it too much, but off the list, I've seen 32 films, about 31%. What I'm missing, I can turn this on so you can kind of see what I have seen and what I've not seen. Yeah, missing out on quite a few of these. There's a lot of like older films as well, especially at the top of the list. Cat People, like Village of the Damned. What is this? Carnival of Souls. Freaks. I've heard a bunch of things about like recently. The Birds. Almost through all of the Hitchcock films, so I would get up to that film like pretty soon as well. But yeah, there's just a lot of films that I haven't caught yet, and it's interesting to see like what Rolling Stone considers the best films, and then compare that to the list from Letterboxd that just lists every film that is within the horror genre and puts them from lowest to best. Yes, I haven't seen Black Swan and Rosemary's Baby. But it's interesting because then I think you get more international. You get Demons, you get something like The Cremator, which is what type? It's a Czech film. What is this? This looks, Japanese. This is also Japanese. You get I mean, this is obviously like the original Ring film is also like a Japanese film. Yeah, to me, this is quite interesting. You don't get a lot of similarities because horror is just that type of genre where, you can get like varying different opinions on it. Although both of those lists, no, The Exorcist isn't even high up on the list here at all. I'm not even seeing it. Maybe I crossed it. I passed it. No, it's here, number 35, and that's the highest rated. There's a big difference, and I guess Psycho is at the same position, but the different opinions on those, and I don't even know if like Alien is on this list here, because it's also a lot of the times pairing it with a different genre. I'm not really sure if everything like as cleanly as it needs to be a horror film to be considered on this Rolling Stones list. The criteria for this would certainly be really interesting. What did they write here? Get it. Old school monster movies and modern serial killers, creatures. Hammer of A24. Which actually, speaking of A24, I also found a list where, or I guess I just put all of the A24 films that are in the horror genre. I put into a list, and I've seen 12 of those. We got Hereditary, The Witch, Midsommar, X, Under the Skin, but then also a bunch of them like Climax, It Comes at Night, Green Room, that I haven't seen yet. So I think for the end of the stream, this would be a bit too much to rank all of these or even the 250. But we'll close the stream out with me just, I guess, just showing my watched films, and then adding those to a new list and naming that A24 Horror Ranked. And it's, I guess, the films that I've seen from A24 in the horror genre. And yeah, I haven't rated The Killing of a Sacred Deer. Okay, what do we got here? I think Hereditary I know it's slow. Because I didn't really like it the first time I saw it, and then I rewatched it and I liked it quite a bit more. To me, I think Under the Skin is like probably up there as the best with Hereditary. I'm not entirely sure which way I'd swing, but also Midsommar. I also like just a good slasher. But Midsommar is really iconic. So I think my top three, Under the Skin, Hereditary, Midsommar, is pretty set. Everything that comes after is a bit harder to go, other than False Positive, which is just really bad type of modern Rosemary's Baby type of remake. The Lighthouse I like a lot, but it's I don't know. It's just it's really great to see, but as a horror film, I don't know where high up I put it. I like it as this really weird I don't know, this weird duo that does stuff with mermaids on an isolated island. I don't know how much of it is like horror that I appreciate from it. I think Pearl is better than High Life and Lamb. Bodies is also better than Lamb and better than High Life. Lamb and High Life are kind of indifferent. The Killing of a Sacred Deer. I remember watching The Killing of a Sacred... I don't remember watching it, so I'll put that off the list because I can't. It's been like, I think I probably watched it when it came out, pretty soon after. Saint Maud, I think, as the rating suggests, goes in between False Positive and High Life. And then I don't know if I think I like Midsommar a tad bit more than Hereditary. And then I think Hereditary does stay over X, but just marginally. And we got like really solid like first 6 picks on this list. But Under the Skin, I just really like the Scottish the Scottish just countryside, and Scarlett Johansson is really great in it. I think this list is right, so we'll save that. And yeah. Hope you enjoyed. First stream ever. I don't even know how to properly end this now, but for everyone who tuned in, thank you so much. And yeah, how do I play this out? Maybe I'll just play the intro again, and that's the end of the stream. All right, so yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. Check out, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, by the way. Check out the Quiet on Set podcast. Check out the reviews. More reviews are coming soon again on this channel. I know I haven't been too active, but egg me on to give you those reviews. But soon, got a new episode of the Quiet on Set podcast. Couple of episodes coming out like every other day. And yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. And I'll see you soon.
We are professionals.
This is a professional podcast.
Yes.
Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Hello there.
Which actually,
Did you
this
get
is gonna
me a
be
hat
a
as
bit,
well?
Doom
Yeah.
in 4K.
Yes.
So I've got Doom Cam. It's just a camera